Executive ambition running up against the rule of law. The White House is moving at lightning speed to transform the federal government, but more judges are saying not so fast. Plus, claiming authority, President Trump says the U.S. has the right to take over Gaza while relocating the millions of Palestinians who currently live there. He's also reiterating a Saturday deadline for Hamas to release any Israeli hostages and to, quote, let all hell break out if they don't. And Greenland is still on the president's mind. While the president may want the island nation, does Greenland want anything to do with the United States? CNN's intrepid correspondent Donnie O'Sullivan went there to find out for himself. We're following these major developing stories and many more, all coming in right here to CNN News Central. President Trump pitching his controversial takeover plan for Gaza this afternoon during a meeting today with King Abdullah II of Jordan. The president reiterated his proposal for the U.S. to take control of the Gaza Strip. Trump saying the enclave could be what he calls a diamond for the Middle East and potentially a pathway to peace for the region. Listen to this.
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace. And there's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it. And we're going to run it very properly, and eventually we'll have economic development at a very large scale, maybe the largest scale on that site. And we'll have lots of good things built there, including hotels and office buildings and housing and other things. And we'll make that site into what it should be.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
Let's take you straight to the White House with CNN's Jeff Zeleny. Jeff, President Trump also had another stern warning for Hamas.
Boris, he did, and those grand plans there, you heard the president talking about, of course, will meet with the reality of the geography and history of the region. The King of Jordan sitting right there, he was obviously very pleasant and very cordial. He said, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Mr. President. He did allow the fact that Jordan would take a couple thousand young children who are stricken with a cancer from Gaza, but he said the rest of this plan would have to be discussed with Egypt and other partners in the region. So clearly this comes 1 week after the president first made that proclamation at a press conference here at the White House with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visiting Washington, and now we are a week later, and the King of Jordan certainly trying to put the brakes on this idea. But the president was talking about the other unfolding timeline here. The ceasefire plan in the Middle East has been affected by all of this, but he issued a new warning on that today.
You know, I have a Saturday deadline, and I don't think they're going to make the deadline personally. I think they want to play tough guy, but we'll see how tough they are. They either have them out by Saturday at 12 o'clock or all bets are off.
So saying all bets are off, yesterday he said all hell would break loose if the hostages were not released. So Boris, there is no question the next several days of this week are going to be incredibly important for this ceasefire if it should hold, even as Israeli troops are gathering in the region. So this is a true challenge for the president that goes far beyond the real estate deal he was talking about there in the Oval Office. But again, sitting there with the King of Jordan, he said, again, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Mr. President. Boris.
Jeff Zeleny, live at the White House, thank you so much. We have to keep in mind that in the middle of all these talks are the 73 remaining hostages, men, women, and children held captive in Gaza for nearly 500 days now. Today, many of their family members are urging Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to uphold the ceasefire deal amid growing concerns that it will fall apart. Joining us now is Eylon Kashet. His cousin Yarden Bibas was just released by Hamas on February 1st, but Yarden's wife and two small children are still being held in Gaza. Eylon, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. I want to get your reaction to everything that you've heard there from President Trump, saying that all hell would break out if Hamas did not comply with a scheduled hostage release on Saturday, and then Benjamin Netanyahu seeming to echo those remarks.
Yeah, I'm actually very scared about this notion because we've seen how rare and fragile these deals are. It took so long to make another deal after the last deal, and it can so easily fall apart. So I and my family, we truly believe that we have to keep the deal going. Every party involved, Israel, the intermediaries, Hamas, and of course the US, they must push to keep the hostages on coming back home. If the war restarts, we don't know how much long it will be before we can make another deal. And my family and all the rest of the hostages don't have that time.
Yeah, and to that point, Israeli officials believe that the remaining hostages are in even rougher condition than some of those already released. We actually heard one official tell CNN that they expect worse scenes. What goes through your mind hearing that?
It turns my stomach. The last release was very hard to watch, to see their before and after photos. It just looks like something that was taken straight from the Holocaust. Like people with their cheekbones very prominent, losing so much weight. I've heard and read that they've been through torture. They were strangled from their feet upside down. Yarden also talks about that he and Ofer, another one, at the beginning of the captivity, they kept them in a cage below the ground with almost no food. It was completely dark and damp and smelly and no daylight for so many days. So everyone must understand that we don't have that time. No one has that time. And I'm afraid of what's coming next, but I know that each day that the deal will be delayed, more people will die and more people will lose even more of their mental state and their physical well-being.
It's grueling to think about what condition Yarden's wife and those two small kids might be in. I do want to get your thoughts on whether you think the IDF bears any responsibility for this threat from Hamas, because they're blaming Israel, saying that Israel's violated the ceasefire agreement. What do you think?
First, I think it's very complicated because both Hamas and some of the Israeli people, it's a very big system. They are playing the blame game for over 16 months now. So it's very hard to just point at very specific points and say, this is them, this is the other one. So I don't know. But I do know that it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter for us, the families. We need to get the innocent people back. Even if Israel makes mistakes, I'm not pro anything that threatens the integrity of the deal, and I'm not pro any mistake or anything that is not on good faith. But I do need to say that everyone involved needs to understand that a real terrorist organization kidnapped innocent civilians and kept them for over 16 months, and they must go home. It's that simple. It's fragile. We can't just always try to say they're at fault. They're at fault. It doesn't matter. Our family members will still die if the deal won't continue. So we must do everything we can to not let it fall and for the war to not restart again.
Elon, when all the hostages are released by Hamas, and we are certainly hopeful that they will be, what do you want to see happen in Gaza?
I just want the fastest and best way for peace. I think me and so many other people in Israel, and I'm sure in Gaza as well, just don't want anything that comes from religious fanaticism on both sides to make the war keep going. We just want to live in peace, and we want to feel safe, and we don't. And again, we want to feel secure and defended wherever we are living. And this is what I want. I truly dream of the day that the Middle East will be a place that many people of many different outbringing would live at least in peace and even if not fully cooperating.
Sure. A lot of people obviously share that dream with you. I do wonder what you make of Trump saying that the United States should take over Gaza, because for a lot of people that support Hamas and for Palestinians that do not want to leave Gaza, that would seem like a rallying cry. That would seem like something that would exacerbate tension. Do you read it that way? Do you think these comments from Trump are helpful?
I think that there will be no solution that is one-sided. So if we try to say this only if Trump says it and it's supposed to be something that like you accept it or else it's not going to do good. It must come from conversation and real effort at diplomatic relations. And because again, there is so much hatred from Hamas extremists and other terrorist groups there, and we must be able to neutralize it, so we can have hope to live in peace. If we continue down everyone involved, both sides. If it's only by military might and by war, I think the cycle will never end, and I am really afraid of that.
Elan Kashed, I always appreciate speaking with you. I certainly hope for the best for your family. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.